color of water, which will be here if the sea levels rise by 1 meter. When that's going to happen, we're not sure, but if it happens, this is what will happen when it happens. And so all of you are in critical areas of helping to reduce carbon emissions and perhaps prevent the acceleration of climate change. I assume that's how David explained this. But so I don't really have an opening question, but I think perhaps maybe the best thing is to kind of go around the room, say who you are. I know some of you came with some opening thoughts, and if you didn't, you'll have time to think of it by the time we get to you. So thank you again for coming on a Saturday afternoon. I really appreciate this.
Would you like to start, Mary?
I'm Mary Uva. My current, title, I'm on the Board of Representatives here in Stamford. My background, I have, 25 years of experience in different environmental issues and public policy. On this issue, I actually organized my first global warming conference in Washington in 1989, and we had James Hansen as our guest speaker. And I guess I'm getting old because that was a long time ago. And it's, on one hand, it's discouraging that it's 20 years later where we're having these conversations still. On the other hand, it's enormously encouraging that it's now in the mainstream, that we're talking about climate change and starting to talk about what we can really do to mitigate it. So that's my.
I'm Robin Stein. I'm with the city, with the Land Use Bureau. And unlike Mary, I'm really old. I've been with the city for a long time. And just, I guess, a couple things for opening. We did a master plan in 2002. And although if you go through the master plan, there are a number of distinct elements relating to the topic, there is no section. We were like a year or two, and not as early as in the 80s when people were really in the forefront, but we just didn't, we hadn't put it together then. We're presently involved in amending the master plan to have a specific section on sustainability, although I know that term, depending on which sort of semantics issue, resilience or green, but that's, we're working on that to hopefully bring everything together. Just one other thing, although in 2002 we didn't really think in this holistic sense, perhaps a number of things we did way back as early as the 70s, which was really our first written master plan for the city of Stamford, where we restricted all, we called it new commercial growth because there was some to south of what we call in Stamford the Bull's Head area, which was really the forerunners of sort of a smart growth policy for the city, and we pretty much kept to that, concentrating, and we'll be talking more about that development either in and around the downtown, the south end, and our transportation center. The second item I'd just like to briefly mention, because this we discovered how green we are. Also in the 70s, we amended the zoning regulations to require under certain circumstances in the downtown green roofs. And we didn't make the connection of green roofs between heat island effect, limiting stormwater discharge, and also enabling to insulate better your buildings. We did it primarily for aesthetic reasons then, but when we were recently remembered or did our analysis, we found that in downtown Stamford we have 14 acres of green roofs, which is pretty amazing for a city that wasn't really thinking about why we were doing that.
I'm Ray Rauth. I'm a long-time bicycle and pedestrian advocate. This is only, I'm from Weston, by the way, so I don't live in Stamford. This is only the second time that I can recall having been in Cove Park. The first time was about, Robin might know, 1997 or 1998, I'm guessing, when we put the first bike racks on the buses in Stamford. Do you remember when that was? 2001? Okay, 2001, so that's 9 years ago. My point in bringing that up, and by the way, I'm much older than these, if they could add their ages together, and I would beat them. Age is a virtue. I was at a meeting of the newly formed Fairfield County Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance a couple of weeks ago, and we went around and we suggested goals, long-term goals and short-term goals. My long-term goal, and this was a suggested time frame of up to 50 years, my long-term goal was to have every road and every street in Fairfield County, bicycle and pedestrian, accessible and friendly and safe. And I guess the reason I mentioned the bicycle racks on the bus and that long-term goal is we have to realize how long it takes to get something done. Robin knows how long it takes to get something done, and I'm sure Uwe does too. It doesn't happen overnight, requires constant pressure over a long period of time, and you can't get discouraged.